Hey everyone, welcome to r/Tales from Tech Support, where we get to have a little chuckle at the technologically disadvantaged. Like me. I'm Uncle Reddit, and have I got a story for you. Before I get started into the stories, guys, I just wanted to thank all of you for the watch time, the likes, the subscriptions. Anything you do helps the channel, and I really appreciate it. Alright, on to the stories. It's in your name. I manage a computer help desk for an independent hospital. One of my techs sent over this call they just received. We get referred to as the help desk even though our technical department name is computer support. ED is emergency department. Me, computer support, this is tech name. Emergency department. Hey, do you guys fix the desks that move up and down? Me, no, that would most likely be maintenance. Emergency department. But you guys are help desk. My problem is in your department's name. Me. Sir, we take care of computer-related systems and not office equipment like desks that move up and down. Call maintenance. Emergency department. Okay, I'll try them, even though you are the help desk people. Thanks. Bye. I know some people can be very literal and very dense, but I have a difficult time thinking that anybody is that clueless that they're going to take something like that, like the name help desk, so literally. What do you guys think? Let me teach you a little thing called the alphabet. Hi, Tales from Tech Support, long-time lurker, first-time poster. Obligatory disclaimer on mobile, so formatting. I don't work in tech support per se. I program industrial machines and SCADA systems, but of course I have to support the systems my company installs. With one particular customer, this has led to a great many tales worth telling. To give a little context to this customer, they have an in-house IT department of about 3 people. Early on in the project, they openly admitted to having no idea about IT and told me to just let them know what I needed from them to do my job. I wasn't entirely sure, so they just gave me domain administrator privileges for their entire company, which I still have to this day. Anyway, on to the story. Back around 2014, my company designed and installed an automated production line for the customer, including a basic historian and reporting feature. Once it's all up and running, the French project manager, who we'll call Pierre because he's about the most stereotypically French person I've ever met, and Pierre is the most stereotypical French name I can think of. He decides that he and several other people want 4 reports emailed to them every morning, showing trend data from the previous 24 hours production. Okay, no problem. I open up the reporting software and create trends showing the required data, then create a job to print this report to a folder at 5 a.m. each day. Test it out, everything works fine. Every morning at 5 a.m., 4 files appear in the folder looking something like... So they've typed out a bunch of file names here. I'm going to sort of summarize it. Doofenshmirtz machine with the year, month, and date 0500. PDF Skyhook machine, same date format. PDF some other machine, same date format. PDF widget machine, same date format, all in PDF. Then the customer's IT department took care of automatically emailing them out to the relevant people. Unfortunately, a few months later, Pierre needs a couple more reports added, and this breaks the email script. Also, the person who wrote the email script has moved on, and the remaining IT department have no idea where to even find this script. And when they do find it, all they manage to succeed in doing is breaking it even further and then losing it again. After weeks of back and forth, during which I try to make it clear that I'm working on it, but that the holdup is with their own IT department, while at the same time trying not to throw their IT guys under the bus, I decided to just map a shortcut to the reports folder onto Pierre's desktop, to at least get him off my case for a while. I remote into his machine and set up the shortcut, open it up and show him how all the reports are in the folder, and he can just grab whichever one he needs whenever he wants. I assure him that I will eventually get his emailed reports happening again, but in the meantime, this should work just fine. Pierre's happy. Until the next morning, when I receive a phone call from a very irate Frenchman. As soon as I answer, Pierre immediately launches into a tirade about how all his reports are missing. Me. What do you mean? You remember we set up a folder on your desktop so you can access them directly? Pierre. Yes, and there's nothing there. All my widget machine reports are gone. All that's left are the Doofenshmirtz machine reports. What's going on with this useless crap of yours? And that's as good as the accent gets, by the way. Me. Hang on, let me take a look. I log into the reporting server and open up the reports folder. All the reports are there. Me. I'm looking at the folder now, Pierre. I can see all 4 reports from this morning right now. You didn't copy the reports to somewhere else or anything? Pierre. No, I just clicked on the folder you put on my desktop and there's nothing there. Only the Doofenshmirtz machine. No Skyhook machine, no some other machine, no widget machine. They're all missing. Me. Can I remote into your machine and take a look? I don't understand why they wouldn't be showing up. I remote into his machine, open up the folder, and immediately see the problem. Me. Pierre. The reports. They're in alphabetical order. Scroll down. Okay, so even if I didn't know that my reports would show up alphabetically, or anything in any file folder would generally show up alphabetically, I would still probably scroll through the file. If I didn't see something right away that I would be looking for, I would probably scroll through to try and find it first. I mean, this guy didn't want to do any legwork on anything. The end is near. I work for a large university in their over-the-phone tech support team. I was on a simple installing Microsoft Office 365 apps call with a nice old lady who decided to come back to finish her education. The installation was going good and she had about halfway left on the progress bar, so I decided to make some small talk so that my dead air, time not talking with the customer, wouldn't go too high. I asked her, so how's the weather right now where you are? And this is where this crazy story begins. The response.
It was nice and warm, but it got cold. This is it. The end is near.
Then she proceeded to explain how she started a following of people who are preparing for the end. I then simply asked, so how's that download going? And I get back, if you don't need my warning, you will be the same as the rest, lost and forgotten when the end time comes. The install finished, and that was the first time in a long time that a tech support call scared me. For some reason in my brain, I've got that old hag from Snow White, the old animated Snow White in my brain with that voice going. I don't know why. No PT information. I work in a clinic. I'm the only person in my department and I set it up. They decided to hire me and get me started prior to the department being operational. So in order to keep me gainfully employed, they had me help out through various departments. This isn't an issue as I've worked IT, administrative, and pretty much every job you can think of inside a clinic at some point, but this story takes place in our records department. For those of you not familiar with healthcare, we need to keep records on all patients that come through the front door, unless we transfer them completely to another facility, in which case then we need to keep records of where we sent them as well as evidence of their receipt, or if a certain amount of time has passed after the patient has died. When I first started, I had ended up helping out our IT department with a complete network changeover, nothing major, checking ports, running cables, etc., and had received glowing reviews from my work, so management decided to put me in with records to assist them in their changeover from all paper to all digital with all patient records. They had made it through approximately 100 of close to 10,000. It took them 2 weeks. I arrived to their department and I was greeted by a team of about 5 ladies. The youngest looked to be about 60. Now I have nothing against someone's age, but having to learn computers is different than growing up with them. I greeted them and made friendly chit-chat at first. Before showing me how they had been working, I learned that they were not in favor of going to an all-digital system and that they wanted to stick to paper records. When it came to scanning in files, they showed me how to work the scanner. They opened the top, put the page on the glass, hit scan, hit add doc to PDF, flip the page over, hit scan again before swapping it out. This PT file was on the thin side and had well over 50 pages. After about an hour and a half, it came time to save the thing off. I was told not to name the PT files and to leave the file as untitled, as it couldn't have any patient information on it, but just set it face down in an inbox. After watching all this, I asked why they didn't use the auto feed, and I was told that they didn't like having to reorganize the pages. Confused, and being a little intimidated by being the new guy, I just nodded and said, "Oh, okay." At that point, they all decided it was time to go to lunch, and invited me along, but it was a salad place and I like my burgers, so I politely declined. Went to BK across the street, came back figuring I could let it scan while I ate. I took the first file, set it into the auto feeder, checked the settings, enabled two-sided scanning with blank page elimination, and hit go. I sat down and made it through about a third of my burger before the doc was done. I checked it on the preview. No issues, so I saved it off and set up the next one. By the time they got back, I had scanned close to 50 records, and the inbox was so full that I had to make another stack. They were shocked, to say the least. When they asked how I did it so fast, I showed them. None of them knew that you could set the machine to scan pages two-sided. What would have taken them years to do now was able to be done in a few months. Needless to say, we did have to come up with a naming convention for the files, so eventually it was decided to use initials because we still stuck to the no names rule. It took them longer to figure out who was who than to actually scan the docs. I was removed from their section before completion due to my section coming online, but they still reach out to me for help before they ask our actual IT crew, and they still bring me brownies once in a while. Well, that was kind of wholesome. At least there was no battling, and, you didn't outright insult them, and they didn't outright insult you, and, I sort of do get it, though. When people have been doing things so many years, it's hard to change. It's hard to ask them to change. It's hard for them to learn to implement it. Some aren't opposed to it, but it is still a learning curve, so. And the magic blue smoke appeared. Not IT, but I dabble, also on mobile. Today at work we had one of our POS computers fritzing out. All of our PCs are leased with a good service contract. I reported the issue this morning, and the company had a service tech out at 2 p.m. As I was the one that discovered and diagnosed the issue, I told the tech what I found and what I believed the problem was. The problem: fine aluminum dust entered the not environmentally sealed enclosure and got past the dust screens in the ITX case. Should that be ATX case? I don't know. And was playing heck with the internal contacts. Tech went to check and bumped something. There was a soft pop and the joyous smell of burnt electronics. The magic smoke started rolling out a second later, thick enough to be seen from the 20mm exhaust fan. He said a replacement unit would be delivered in the morning. He did ask how I knew. My response was that the extrusion saw I used that makes a lovely pile of aluminum glitter, and when a new fan was installed to help cool a work area, it blew some of the dust at the POS enclosure. Tech is now trying to get approval for additional filters for each enclosure. I would have thought a company that leased equipment like that would find out where you're going to be keeping the equipment and what you do so that they can set it up properly and make sure it doesn't get destroyed. Silly me. Can you try it? It's all USB, right? C equals customer, me equals lowly intern. I got a request to insert USB drives into several pieces of equipment. Easy stuff. But when I got there were no USB ports. Me. This equipment doesn't have USB ports. So I sent him a picture showing the entire back of the equipment, with the only ports being two RJ45 jacks and a micro USB port above them. Customer: above the RJ45 port, what port is that? Me: that looks like a micro USB port. Everything I have is USB-A. Customer: can we try inserting it? It was at this point I broke down laughing. This whole thing was over Microsoft Teams text chat, so he couldn't hear me. Once I'd composed myself, me: no, USB-A does not fit into micro USB. I'm very glad COVID means this person was not on site to try such a thing themselves and break stupidly expensive prototype equipment. Yeah, I know a few people like that would just start trying to jam things into any old port just to see if they would fit. My modem stopped working due to the 9999 bug. Background: in the late 90s, I worked for a software company that wrote software for back-end offices of primarily fast food restaurants. I was a software developer, but when lines backed up, we were sometimes asked to help tech support. The bug: before the Y2K bug, there was its lesser-known cousin, the 9999 bug. Some really old systems would use 9999 as a halt command, and they would also code the date 9999 as 9/9/99 as just 4 nines. So these two issues would lead to the 9999 bug. I don't know of any instances where this bug actually happened, but the media hyped it a bit as an early stress test for the Y2K bug. While we did have to make changes to our code for Y2K, our code never used 9999 as a stop command, and would have coded 9/9/99 as 990909. The cast: CSR, customer service rep. Client equals client. I was working that day, but not on the call. We all heard about it right after it happened. The story. Client calls in complaining that the 9999 bug has caused their modem to stop working. None of their stores were polled. Our software would use external modems so that the back office computers could poll each store's registers to see what was sold, etc. the previous day. CSR. Sir, can you tell me what the lights on your modem look like? Client. Modem? CSR. Yes, sir, the box with the lights that probably sits on top of your computer. Client. Oh, that. It was making a funny sound last night, so I turned it off. CSR. Sir, I think we've located the problem. It turned out that the client was so worried about the bug they stayed late, which they don't usually do. Self-fulfilling prophecy achieved. Too funny. People will talk themselves into just about anything and mess with equipment that they have absolutely no business touching. Hey guys, thanks for hanging out with me today. If you've enjoyed this content, would you do me a favor? Consider giving this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and maybe click that little bell icon so you don't miss the fat guy with the beard telling you stories. See ya!